Hi there, it's Daniel here from Sussex Campervans, answering another frequently asked question. And the question I'd like to address is, I'm going to get a campervan, what's the best sort to get? Now, of course, there are what people call Coachbuilt campervans, which is essentially where you've got a van chassis and a big square structure is built onto that, which is made of plywood and plastic panels and held together with aluminium. I call them blocks of flats. You've seen them driving around. They're very big, they're very angular. They give you lots of accommodation inside, but the downside, of course, is they're not something you can drive every day. We've owned one or two of them, and for 49 weeks of the year it's parking on the drive, gathering moss, and the batteries and the tyres are going flat. So the market for those is shrinking massively. Indeed, we got rid of ours, and I think lots of people have followed suit. Certainly lots of folk who visit us here are saying, oh, we're just not getting the use out of the thing. It's sitting there burning road tax and depreciating, and we're not getting any use out of it. We want something we can drive every day. Now, having considered that, you want a panel van conversion. You want a camper van rather than a block of flats motorhome thing. So having decided a camper van's the thing for you, the question is, what kind of camper van? And really there are three main classes, I suppose. This is what we call a high-top camper van. Let me show you what that means. On the top here there's a high roof and you can stand up inside this vehicle. So the advantage is there's nothing to play with, nothing to mess about with, nothing to adjust. So I'm inside a high-top camper van. Now you notice we've got cupboards up here above and the furniture unit down below. And I can stand up in here very, very easily. I've got all this extra storage. I've got storage here above the cab as well. The whole vehicle's very airy and spacious. That's the big advantage. Fuel consumption is not dissimilar to a low-roof camper van. You get all this extra headroom and space. The only disadvantage, I suppose, a lot of folks cite is there are a number of car parks and situations with a height restriction, and because these tend to be 2.4, 2.5 metres high, they won't go into the majority of those. Now this vehicle is what we might call a Tintop vehicle. It's got a low roof from the factory and that hasn't been modified at all, so you can't actually stand up in it. It's a bit like a people carrier with a full camper van facility, so you've still got cooking and sleeping facilities and so forth, but you can't stand up in it whatever you do to it. So that's a cheaper option, but it is quite limiting for some people. It makes more what you might call a day van or a surf van than perhaps a true camper van. And let me show you the most popular option. This here is what's called a Poptop camper van, and on a Poptop camper van it's only a fraction higher than a Tintop when the roof's closed, so you can get under lots and lots of height restrictions and things. Most of the ones we make finish at around 2 metres, apart from the NV200, which is lower still, so you can get in certainly to pretty much every 2.1 metre 7-foot height restriction. But once you're parked up, the roof opens up and it gives you lots of airspace, headspace, standing room. Let me show you how it works. Come and have a look inside. The roof's just right here, but a simple push and the gas strut's lifted up in the air, just like opening the boot on the car. Suddenly you've got this massive airspace, headspace. You can have an extra double bed in the roof there. You've got gauze windows on the side to give you ventilation when you're cooking, which will close shut if it's a bad day. You've got a PVC window on the front for light even when it's raining. And of course it'll close down again in seconds to allow you to drive off nice and low and aerodynamic. So there you have it, horses for courses, a high top, a pop top or a tin top. The choice is yours.